What's happening, guys? It's Steve here, Cars with Steve, and today we're going to be talking about 5 mistakes that people make during the car buying process and how you can avoid them. Now, one thing, make sure you stick around because somewhere hidden in this video, you're going to see a screenshot with a code to get a $10 Amazon gift card. All you've got to do, find me on Instagram, let me know what your email address is as well as the country that you live in, and I'll send it your way. And it is first come, first serve. Now, let's get into it. Here are 5 mistakes that you make during the car buying process and how you can avoid it. All right, guys. So 5 top mistakes that people make. We're going to start off with number 1, which is you aren't sure what you can afford. Now, if you only have a budget of $300 a month, you're not about to drive off in a brand new 2020 Ford Mustang GT Performance Pack 1. It's just not realistic for your budget. Making sure that you budget properly is going to ensure that firstly, you know what cars you're going to be able to afford, and that's going to help you avoid disappointment when you actually go car shopping. Because the last thing you want is to test drive something and find out that you can't afford it. But let's take a look at an F-150 live example just so you can see what the differences are between these vehicles here. So we're looking at the 2020 F-150 XL with a 5.5-foot box, and it's the Super Crew. So what I've done is I've configured a few F-150s with very similar builds across different trim levels, just so I can show you what the difference is on what these things actually cost. So it's got the 4x4 drivetrain, 3.5-liter engine, and in this example, this truck, you're looking at the XL version, $52,000, taxes included, with 0 down and no trade-in. That means that you're going to be paying about $600 a month. So it's not like it's a cheap vehicle by any stretch. Like, there is a little bit of a cost associated with these things. Now, what I did was same thing. So let's take a look at an XL trim level. So this will be the second trim level up on the vehicle. So same thing. So this one's a little bit pricier, $61,000, taxes in on the vehicle. Now, looking at the monthly payment, same thing, like $730. Like, again, it is a bit of a difference. So we're going from $630 to a little over $700 on an XLT, which is the top selling F-150 lineup. Moving into the Lariat. So if you wanted something a little bit nicer, a little bit of a nicer interior, leather seats instead, we're $68,000 instead at over $800 a month. And that's why knowing what your budget is important. Look, we're $100 a month difference at least between these 3 different trim levels of this one vehicle alone. But if you come in and say, oh, you know what? Maybe you can't afford $600 a month. Maybe your payment has to be less. That's when we have to look at a different type of a vehicle. So jumping into a regular cab 8-foot box, just a generic work truck that you could drive around in, that means you're going to be under $500 a month, looking at that as an option instead. Again, these are zero money. This is $0 down and no trade-in for this vehicle. But look at the difference between these vehicles here. So we're $400 versus $600 versus $700 versus $800 a month. So number 2. You don't research the vehicle that you want to buy or trade in. Now, this is one of the ones that's the most often overlooked area. People just won't research their trade-in value of their vehicle, and instead they want to get what's left on the life of their loan. And that it just doesn't work like that. Because if you owe more money than the trade-in value of your vehicle, that's also known as negative equity. So it'll either have to get paid off by you or it'll have to get wrapped into that financing of the new vehicle. Now, I'm working on a video right now that's going to talk about how trade-ins work. If it's done, it's going to be, somewhere up on screen here. But when you trade in a vehicle, it's based off of the year, the mileage, the accident history, current conditions, and there are a number of things that are going to affect the trade-in value of your vehicle, such as rust, excessive wear and tear on things like the tires and the brakes, any physical damage, so things like dents, scratches, a broken windshield, check engine lights, dash lights. Like, what's the problem? What's going on with your vehicle? There are tons of places that you can look at. You can look at Kelley Blue Book, Canadian Black Book, Cars.com, Autotrader.ca. There are a ton of options that you've got just depending on where you live. If you're in Canada, Canadian Black Book is a very, very good place to start. But in the States, Kelley Blue Book. So let's take a look at how we can actually determine the value of our vehicle on Kelley Blue Book. So what we're going to do, clicking through here, searching for the trade-in values. Let's search for our vehicle. So we're going to start off by entering in the year of the vehicle. So we're just going to pick a hypothetical. Let's say that we're going to be trading in, for this example, a Honda. Let's go with Civic. So we'll say Honda Civic from here. You're going to type in the exact kilometers that are on your odometer there, or miles, I should say, if you're in the States, and pick out the specs for your vehicle. Now, this is the best way to do research for your vehicle so you can really get an understanding of what the actual trade-in value is. Go through, list out whatever equipment your vehicle has. We're just going to kind of click through here and see. Make sure that you deselect and then select everything that your vehicle may or may not have. Looks good. Okay, click through. That's good. And just make sure that all of the features are right. Select your color. If your color's not there, just select something random. Condition of your vehicle. Be honest about this as well. If it needs a little bit of love, a little bit of TLC, make sure you're honest about that because that will affect the trade-in value of your vehicle as well. You don't want to overhype yourself. So giving it a second here, it will figure out what the current value is of your vehicle. Okay, so in this specific example, we're looking at one with a trade-in value of a little over $9,000 to $10,000, so somewhere roughly in that ballpark. Now, it might be a little bit less, might be a little bit more. It depends on the current condition of the vehicle and does it have an accident history. Let's look for the Canadian folks, how we can do that on the Canadian Black Book value instead. So, same idea, very straightforward. What we're going to do here is make sure that we click through and... Okay, so we're going to select our make and model. So very, very similar to what we did on the Kelley Black Book value there as well. So we're going to click on the trade-in value of the vehicle because we're trading the vehicle in. Now, because we're trading in, we're not going to get what the final selling price is. If your vehicle's selling for $12,000 on Auto Trader right now, you're not going to get $12,000 at a dealership because remember, they've got to recondition your vehicle. They've got to bring it up to safety standards as well. They might have to replace the tires, dings, dents, repair rust, etc. So very similar to what we did on the Kelley Blue Book. We're just going to go through, select our vehicle, select the trim level, clicking through next here, going through if there are any additional options on your vehicle, we're just going to click through there. Make sure that you select, if your color's not there, just click other, it's not a big deal there. That's good, and click next here. And it's just going to take a second to load up. And same idea, what's your next vehicle? This is a lead capture form, so we're just going to hit undecided here and click next. It's going to take a second. So looking at that Kia Sorento that we just used as an example here, we're looking at a, what is it, $12,000 up to a $15,000 trade-in value, again, depending on the current condition of the vehicle. So as you can see, the numbers here, they vary widely. Now, having said that, these things new were about $40,000, $50,000, so it does take quite a little bit of a hit, but that's where you have to be realistic about with yourself on what the trade-in value is. Number 3, you don't pick a specific salesperson to work with or a specific dealership. Now, this is one thing that many people don't do. Whether you're buying a $5,000 used car or a $500,000 supercar, you want to make sure that the person that you're dealing with is going to give you excellent service and take care of you. So do your homework. Pick up the phone, call some local dealers in the area when you decide on the brand that you want to buy from. Most major retailers are going to have websites with all of their salespeople listed. So pick up the phone. You can also read some Google reviews in order to get better understanding of what people like about their salesperson, or talk to a friend. If you have a friend who's got the vehicle or a similar brand to what you'd like to buy, ask them what their experience was like with that salesperson that they bought from, and then contact their salesperson. Number 4, you aren't truthful with why you're in the dealership. Like maybe you're 6 months out from buying the vehicle, whatever the case may be, just be upfront when you're in the dealership. Because realistically, if you're 6 months out, there's really no point in looking at pricing in the vehicle. And the reason why is because factory incentives are going to be different, dealer incentives are going to be different, interest rates are going to be different when you're actually ready to pull that trigger. Story time. Oh, there was a couple that dropped into the dealership in order to test drive a Mustang GT. Well, they wanted to test drive a car, but they specifically asked for a test drive at a Mustang GT. Now, it wasn't me who helped them. The sales rep that spoke to them didn't ask enough probing questions up front. So the couple went out, they went on their test drive, they returned from the test drive, and then in that natural conversation, it turns out that they had 2 kids under the age of 14, one of whom is 5'11", and they were looking for a daily driver for the family. Like, nobody in their right mind would consider buying a Mustang as their primary driver when they have kids, unless they really, really don't like their kids. Number 5, you're rushed or you're not prepared when you're ready to buy. And there's nothing worse than if you have to be at work in 20 minutes or if you need to pick someone up halfway through your appointment, you're going to be pressed for time, you're not going to be able to get all the necessary paperwork done, and you're going to leave feeling really, really stressed out. So it's not great to be in a dealership either for 4, 5, or 6 hours. So you want to make sure that you're well researched, ready to pull that trigger, and you've got all the necessary paperwork and documents with you. And that's going to be things like if you're trading in a car, make sure you've got your ownership. You should also have your insurance slip, a copy of a void check, and then make sure you also have your driver's license. But guys, if you follow all of this, your car buying experience is going to be one like you've never had before. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please make sure that you like it, subscribe to the channel as well, and feel free to have any questions. I really love the interactivity you guys are doing. You're asking some great questions. Ask them down below. But enjoy the rest of your week, and until I see you next time, stay safe.